small few of us live with some kind of developmental disability. All of us enjoy picnics on warm days. Those of us who are disabled often live separate lives. Thousands are still in the institutions of the last 2 centuries. Many are sequestered, protected from the world by their families. One form of enlightenment has helped some to gain a measure of independence by congregating them in group homes. And that's been okay as far as it goes. But being human, we always want as much as we can have.
We want to be independent. We want to be free agents. We want to direct our destinies. I mean, people with disabilities are enculturated the same way we are.
The people of Hope House Foundation in Norfolk, Virginia have put forth a simple premise for thinking about and helping to enhance the quality of the lives of those who are developmentally disabled. It is that a life of one's own, to live to the best of one's ability and with the respect of others, is a human right and a responsibility for all of us. This is about one way in which that can be realized. Some of us have Down syndrome, visible in faces that are often able to show joy and sorrow more easily than the rest of us. But Down syndrome comes with other complications, and sometimes a shorter life. Connie Conniff lost her hips a few years ago, but she moves now to the rhythm of the church that is important to her, as she did when she could stand on her own.
Spirituality with people with disabilities is as individualized as it is for people without. There are people I know that we support that I find to be very, to have a clear sense of their spirituality, just as clear of a sense as their sexuality. And there's others who seek that, who are seeking it, and you can see that they are seeking it. But I do know that the history with people with disabilities is for so long, that was the only outlet. That was the only place to be that was okay to be at.
They had really no place to worship, and we learned about that because they were going to another church where they would basically go for coffee and donuts, and there was no Sunday school class for them. We had a special education Sunday where we talked about the special needs of people like our class members, and put an emphasis on that. And that helped to bring more support and help that way to special needs people.
Each spring and fall, Norfolk marks the change of seasons with the Stockley Gardens Art Festival in a historic neighborhood park. It's a fundraiser for Hope House Foundation, but it's also become an acknowledgement of the place of people with disabilities in the community.
They're allowed or enabled to experience life in the community and learn from their successes as well as their mistakes, just like the rest of us, which I think is of great benefit for the people who are being given the support, but it's also a benefit to other service providers to be able to see that sometimes it's better to do a little bit less to help people achieve what we really all want people to achieve, which is basically be able to have control over their own lives.
In so many ways, I see Connie as an adult totally capable of doing anything and everything she wants to do. And in other ways, I know that she's just a little girl. And at times I love the fact that they treat her like an adult, and other times I just want to scream.
Yeah.
She's not an adult, she's mentally 5 years old. You know, do what you need to do and take care of her. But they can't because she is an adult. So sometimes I get very aggravated. And Connie knows that.
I know.
Autism is a disability in which thought and perception seem to be elusive and disengaged. Quentin Riddick is a reader and traveler. Like many individuals with autism, he presents us with a mystery.
Shaves eyebrows.
Quentin has a really great sense of humor, I think, and which is kind of rare for somebody with autism. He likes to joke about things and play games with words and, say, certain things.
For year-round information on how to prepare a picture-perfect turkey, recipes, and more, visit us at www.butterball.com. If you have questions on Butterball products or comments to share with our customer service department, please call.
He, a long time ago, started having problems with his kidneys and was seeing a kidney specialist. When Dr. Whalen first knew that Quentin was going to need dialysis, he felt like he wouldn't be able to handle it based on his disability. Dr. Whalen felt like he needed to be institutionalized and live in a nursing home, and we pretty much fought for him to be able to stay in his own home because he felt like, that's what he wanted to do. But we were able to kind of create a plan to desensitize him and get him used to being on, going to dialysis, and now he's at the point where he'll go by himself, get picked up, he's totally independent, so, he was able to stay in the community. He had always liked to collect newspapers, and it started with him going just on a small trip. They went to Washington, D.C., him and another person, her name's Valerie, that had taken him just kind of on a fluke, like, let's go get a newspaper, because he liked to buy newspapers from other places, but that he had never gone out of town, so they said, let's just go, and they went, and he had a really great time, and it was almost like he just came out of his shell and acted differently when he was out of town than when he was at home. So then we started just doing more trips, and he had some extra money to spend and just brought it up because the Today Show is his favorite show, and so he said, let's go meet Katie. He wanted to go and meet the hosts of the Today Show, and that was, at first it was kind of like a joke, like, yeah, let's go. And we were going to go to New York and maybe try to go to the Today Show, which we did, and he actually did get to meet Katie Couric.
At age 77, Lucinda Brown still actively pursues a life of regular volunteer work. A past winner of the J.C. Penney Golden Rule Award as Volunteer of the Year in her community. She has volunteered extensively in schools for disabled children. Today, her life is celebrated by friends.
Has to be touched by her because she had a rough upbringing, being 77 years old and having learning disabilities all of her life without having to go to school or without having any kind of training or education. She just has that inner spirit that just sparkles and shines.
Every house has to have a spider.
You got a spider, Lucinda. Yeah,
have a wonderful birthday. Love, Debbie.
Yeah, thank you.
You're very welcome.
Both of her parents were deaf, and Lucinda's the oldest of the children. So she has somewhat, it sounds like a speech impediment at times, but it's probably from her early beginnings, I'm assuming. There's no documentation of this anywhere, but just from being raised for so many years in the hearing world and living on a farm. She has one of the fullest, busiest lives of anybody that I know, and she probably doesn't see it.
The award goes to Miss Lynn Siegel.
The effort to help disabled people move from large sheltered institutions to group homes in their own communities has enhanced the quality of life for many. The Hope House model has moved from that level of small neighborhood institutions, single or roommate living in regular apartments. That advance was recognized by the Joseph P. Kennedy Foundation in 1997.
Mentally retarded people out of institutions and into group homes, and from group homes into their own homes. She has successfully pushed the concept of independent living farther than anyone else in the world.
I think it's the most ridiculous thing to force people to live together based on IQ, or if, you know, it'd be like saying, you know, okay, everybody with eyeglasses, you now have to live together. Aren't you happy? You've got the same disability. I mean, so it makes no sense to me.
When we started thinking about closing down group homes, it was a very modest request of people to have their own home. We closed our last group home down on March 1st, and on the day that we were moving, Michelle Kelly and I, all sweaty, Becky Duggar, and we're looking at a woman who is in her late 40s, and as she's walking into her home for the first time, she turns around and she says, "I am so happy." And I want to tell you, so am I, because every single person with a disability that we serve right now lives in their own home. And I say that's a wonderful start towards taking control of your own life and having the freedom that we all deserve.
Where I moved into my own apartment and things got a little better, I had more control over my life. Seeing Hocos took over when Chesapeake could no longer do it, I began to have more control of my life, and that's when I decided to get married and leave the sheltered workshop. I got married February 14th, 1990, and I'm happy as today as I was the day I got married.
I can remember a person we served, Marilyn, and she was seeing, or she kind of had a crush on another guy we were serving named Earl. And they said over and over again they wanted to be together, but we treated it, because we were uneducated too at the time, much the way society is, we treated it as, oh, aren't you cute, you know? I mean, we didn't treat it very adult-like until it was a Friday night, and I can remember Terry, the coordinator, called me up and said, Earl and Marilyn are missing. Oh my gosh, I mean, and certainly they were both two people that missing wasn't a good combination, you know. Marilyn had certain medications she needed to take, just health-wise, and they were gone over 2 days. I mean, this is overnight, just out. Anyway, the police did find them, and when they brought them back, I was, of course, you know, I was furious. I was just furious that they had left, you know, because I was so scared. And I went over there, and Terry met me at the door, and she goes, "You're not going to believe this. Earl took Marilyn because he said he was tired of us believing that he loved Marilyn." It was one of those, you know, aha moments, like, oh, I get it. So anyway, they got married in the next year, and she was the love of his life, and vice versa.
Every night she calls Mom, then she called me, and she called Truman. Same time every night. And that was what she did before she went to bed. And when Mom passed away, there was nobody at Mom's house. Of course, there was nobody to call there. So she was reduced to calling just me, and it messed her up for a while. But we're doing better. She'll tell you. If she meets somebody new, she'll tell you Mom and Daddy died.
When Connie was 21, her mother Maxine did one of the most difficult things any parent has to do, and which often seems more difficult for parents of Down syndrome children. She put her into her own life away from home. That parting is inevitable, sooner or later.
think it was a hard adjustment. It was a very hard adjustment for you going to Zuni. Remember Zuni?
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Remember Zuni?
Oh, yeah.
It was pretty far away.
Yeah.
And you didn't like that.
So I've seen it both ways. I've seen parents struggling with making a decision to have their son or daughter move into like a Hope House, and their kid doesn't want to, and it's a very painful experience. But I've also seen the converse of that, when that decision wasn't made because it was too painful, and at the time of the parent's death, their child having to adjust to strangers, an agency, and dealing with incredible grief, and that is definitely worse.
We had to go visit a lot because she didn't like being that far away. But after 2 years, she was pretty much enjoying being out and about.
I know.
Being able to do what she wanted.
Yeah.
All right. Or are you just going to keep saying yeah?
Having your own life, directing your own life at whatever level you're interested in or have capacity to. I don't think that that's, I think that's a shared human need. Whether it's church or whether it's Sunday dinner with at your families, or going to your place of work and seeing, yes, all of those things lend to a life, what we call a life. A life is made up of, it's not made up of huge, big milestones or miracles or anything. It's just made up of everyday, very ordinary things.